Good evening, Sports Outlet Show family, and welcome back to another rendition here of the Sports Outlet Show. I'm Joe Wagner alongside Brent Allegra and Braden Wilkins. And gentlemen, start your engines. There are two teams left in the college football playoff. We will make sure to get that deep dive for you tonight. But first of all, gentlemen, how are we feeling on this particular Wednesday?
I'm doing well, doing well. It wasn't a great day to have a Verizon outage. I'll tell you that much. With the John Harbaugh news that had been coming across my timeline all day about him in the Giants building. Unfortunately, he did leave the building this evening, so we weren't able to lock him in there like I was hoping to. And then obviously the Ethan Grunkmeyer news as well for us Hokie fans. That was a big notification as well. So like I said, not a great day to have the Verizon outage, but I'll pass it on to Braden to see how he's doing.
I'm feeling great. We got a lot of moving parts here. We got people coming in and out. We got playoffs going on. Adam Thielen retired, which is sad, but just a lot of news today. It's been fun.
I would agree. Brent, when you talk about the Verizon outage, I think about that AT&T commercial where it's that one guy where he's like, if you compare, there's no comparison. Faster, more reliable. AT&T got a W today on that one.
Yeah, they're definitely up one in the series. I was an AT&T customer, but unfortunately, my workplace blocks AT&T for whatever reason. The only cell phone carrier that you can use in Navy Federal's buildings is Verizon. So I had to make the switch. Days like today, it's biting me in the butt. I'll be real.
That's got to be one heck of a sponsorship deal over there for to block signal network and connection.
I don't know what it is. They got something going on behind the scenes there.
I don't know. Well, they've got nothing going on right now for Verizon. I'm not sure what's going on over there, but absolutely wild for that to happen. But that's kind of sporting news. It unalerted us from sporting news. So who knows? Maybe Harbaugh's still in the building.
He's not, unfortunately.
He'll be back.
They should have just gotten like Dexter Lawrence, had him like stand in front of the door or something. Like he's a big guy. He probably couldn't have gotten out.
There
you just put the D line over there and say, "Can you get through these four?" No, neither can anybody else.
It's a great sales pitch.
Just lock him in there. Don't let him leave. That was my hope today. It didn't happen.
It's okay. He's got to go look around. He's going to come back. He knows. Everybody goes back to Jackson Dart.
I don't know.
It's got to happen. But we're hopeful for you, Brent. Speaking of people not in the building, Mike Tomlin, and guys, these are probably the two. You know how you talk about words that just carry sentences? Like people are like, the comma's carrying the sentence or this letter's carrying the sentence. The two words steps down are massive in this sentence. Mike Tomlin steps down after 19 seasons. He went 193-114 with two ties during his tenure with the Steelers. Just a little bit about him. Never had a losing season, Super Bowl champion in 2008, as well as just 4 or 5 straight wild card / divisional first round exits. Pittsburgh feels like they need a change. And since their inauguration, will have their 4th head coach of all time. So a lot of people want this job in Pittsburgh. It's ridiculous. Mike Tomlin could be traded for a first-round pick, gentlemen. What do we think on this?
Yeah, I think from what I've heard, he sounds like he's going to take the year off. I don't know if I don't know if a lot of teams are clamoring to trade, huge draft capital for Mike Tomlin. Personally, I think he is a great coach. But might want to give it some time. Let him think things through a little bit. And honestly, stepping down, I do not blame him. People have been calling for his head for years. He's not getting the appreciation that he deserves anymore. And if I'm a Steelers fan, I get it. Obviously, what is it? Losing the past 7-8 playoff games. So not great there. But you brought up the winning record. Is constantly in the playoffs, constantly above 500. He's not a bad coach. So we'll see what happens after this year. But I think he'll find a new landing spot if he wants one.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like you said, Steelers fans, I understand the impatience. It's been forever that you haven't won a playoff game. You keep getting there, but not doing anything afterwards. So I get that. For Mike Tomlin, I think it makes sense to take a year off. If you look at recent history for coaches like Mike Vrabel and Sean Payton, that's worked quite a bit so far in these guys' young tenures with their new teams, the Broncos and the Patriots, the number 1 seed and the number 2 seed. So things are looking good there for them. Maybe it'll look good for Tomlin in his new home.
Yeah, well, definitely a huge gap there for Pittsburgh. 3 out of 4 teams now in the AFC North looking for coaches, and the worst one is still remaining. And Zach Taylor of the Cincinnati Bengals, who I saw I don't know what the stat was. He was like 4-27 or something when Joe Burrow doesn't play. Talk about riding somebody to the finish line with Joseph Burrow, but ridiculous. But he'll have his time in Cincinnati for sure at some point. But a lot of changes around the league. One of these guys, Braden, I'll let you touch on him because I think you want him to go to Birdland. I heard you guys just had a spot open up.
Yes, Kevin Patullo is gone. That is huge news. I'm very happy about that. Great guy, just didn't work with the offensive scheme there. Mike McDaniel fired from the Dolphins. I think we all saw it coming. It could have been done midway through the season, but they let him ride it out and finish the season. I think this guy's going to be a hot commodity around the league. I know him and Vic Fangio had some beef in the past when Fangio was a Dolphin, so that might be a little bit difficult if we can bring him into Philly. But if they can squash that beef, I would absolutely love that. I think he's a great mind and can unlock the special players that are on that Eagles offense.
If I'm Mike McDaniel, I understand wanting to be a head coach, but I'm going to try and find an OC job with a stupid good team, hence the Eagles with a great offense. There are also some others out there with some great OC positions that are going to open up or have opened up, and make this man the highest paid offensive coordinator. Just go chase some rings, dude. He is head coach ready. He did fine in Miami for the most part with what he had, the cards he was dealt. But this guy's an offensive mastermind. Go to a stupid good team and just make him ridiculous.
Yeah, I know the Lions offensive coordinator position is open as well. That would also be a great landing spot. I did see a tweet from Diana Rossini, I believe, earlier today that said Mike McDaniel and Brian Daboll are the top 2 options for the Eagles offensive coordinator position. So that would be interesting going to the division rival there for Daboll. I do think he is a great offensive mastermind as well, just not quite as good at the head coaching stuff. So I think he'd do well over there as well. So personally, I'm hoping McDaniel and Daboll stay far, far away from the Eagles.
Why don't you just go get all 3? Harbaugh, Daboll, McDaniel ball.
Well, I guess Harbaugh knows a little bit about the defensive side, but the other 2 guys are not relevant on the defensive front for sure.
You don't need defense with the front 4 you have out there. You're fine. It's completely fine. Speaking about teams that are not fine, New York Jets fans they thought they could stop the crying, stop the pain. It is going to continue for a little while longer. Oregon quarterback Dante Moore will be returning to the Oregon Ducks after losing there in the semifinals. We'll talk more about that later. For the 2026 season, honestly, you could probably say this at this point, the unanimous number 2 pick right behind Fernando Mendoza, Las Vegas, Dante Moore would have been. You really thought in the semifinal you're seeing number 1 versus number 2. Dante Moore will be going back to Eugene, Oregon, and Dylan Raiola will be backing him up this fall. Guys, comments, concerns on this one over there in Autzen Stadium?
Yeah, I don't know if Raiola really thought it through or talked with Dante Moore about his decision at all, but obviously one of the better starters in college football going to be a backup now. Obviously, he is coming off that injury, so he might need a little bit more time to heal up. I'm not sure on that, but it does sound like I think he has another year of eligibility, so Dante Moore will definitely be in the NFL draft the following year. So I presume he would be the starter the next year, but just tough for Jets fans. I know they've been in quite the bit of hell, for lack of a better word, the past few years, and it's going to be stinky once again. You gotta hope for the number 1 overall pick once again. I know they have 3 first-round draft picks in 2027. So they should be able to get their guy eventually. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, I think people are speaking about this one on Twitter, and they were talking about Dylan Raiola and going to Oregon, of understanding this was a possibility. Whether that's true or not is up for your speculation, of course. But Dante Moore did a very similar thing. He transferred from UCLA to Oregon, knowing he was going to sit back behind Dylan Gabriel. And boy, did that work for him with Dan Lanning. So Raiola may be trying to take another turn at this and maybe be a little more serious than being Patrick Mahomes Jr. So we'll see if that works out for the junior quarterback. But interesting there for sure. Guys, we're going to kick it around the bubble here for the two semifinals. We had one that was great, one that was a beatdown. Just kind of breaking down, I know you guys will break down Miami and Indiana a little bit later, so feel free to save some of those factoids, season-based, how you think they're going to win the national championship for later. But for now, let's just talk about the matchup at hand. The number 10 Miami Hurricanes win a thriller over the number 6 Ole Miss Rebels, 31-27 with Miami and Ole Miss. Guys, what did we see from Carson Beck versus Trinidad Chambliss, and why is Malachi Toney an absolute animal?
Yeah, Malachi Toney's insane, and I'll get more into that later. But this one was tight statistically. Both teams finished with similar total yards and yards per play, but Miami won situationally, better red zone efficiency, fewer negative plays, and they really capitalized on it. So props to them. They look like a good team, and they get a home game for the national title. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and for Ole Miss, not all options are exhausted yet, but Trinidad Chambliss was denied his extra year of eligibility, so that very well could have been his last college football game he'll ever play, which is crazy to think, just knowing he was planning on coming back next year and how dominant he's been this season.
Yeah,
considering – go ahead.
I was going to say, we brought up the Jets earlier. I mean, they could take a swing on Chambliss. I think he's deserving of a first or second round pick based on his play this year. I know another name that's been thrown out a lot is Ty Simpson. I don't know if that's as great of an option, honestly, with the way Alabama played down the stretch. But
Carson Beck's name being thrown in there too.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. I'll be honest.
But it's crazy that you talk about Trinidad Chambliss being denied that year. Obviously, they're going to the Mississippi courts, as well as fighting some NIL and NCAA sanctions and things like that. But the craziest part about this is TJ Finley will be going to his 7th team in 7 years, originally committed to LSU, and will now be the starting quarterback for Incarnate World. He's football, gentlemen. He's joking around at this point.
I saw someone tweeted that he was doing the reverse Cam Ward, because Cam Ward started at Incarnate Word and then obviously finished at Miami. So yeah, he's doing the reverse. We'll see how it pans out for him.
Just off the top of my head, I can think it was like LSU, Auburn, Western Kentucky, Incarnate World, Georgia State, Tulane, Western Kentucky. I probably already said that. Next game, we're not going to focus on this. Indiana Hoosiers demolished Oregon in this rematch, 56-22. And Kurt Cignetti actually broke out a smile there. It was insane. It happened. It was incredible for him to see. The man can smile. The man just wins. Google him. To go to 15-0, trying to go to 16-0, which would not just be an undefeated feat, but would be the first for Indiana in the national championship run. Guys, obviously Heisman Mendoza's on this team. We just talked a little bit about Dante Moore. But how important is Elijah Surratt to this Indiana Hoosiers offense? And then D'Angelo Pons, who literally had a pond named after him this week as well in Bloomington. How important are those guys?
Yeah, I mean, the Hoosiers offense was crazy from the get-go. Just didn't let Oregon even get a semblance of a chance here. Averaged over 7 yards per play, outgained Oregon by well over 150 yards, and forced multiple turnovers that turned into short fields. I was waiting for Oregon to get back in it. It never happened. I probably watched the game for longer than I should have. to be honest with you, with the way this thing went. But yeah, just no contest at all for Oregon in this one.
And Brent, building off that, I really thought it was going to be a shootout after Dante Moore's pick six to start the game. They went down and drive the field methodically. It was an awesome, awesome drive. And then after that, it just completely shut down. It was just utter domination from that point forward. And Joe, you mentioned Elijah Surratt. It feels like that's just like such a safety blanket for them. You can almost feel it before it happens. When Indiana needs him, he is there, and he will find himself in the end zone often.
Yep. It's going to be an interesting matchup. We'll talk about the national championship when we get there. But first, two thoughts. Braden's got a couple best bets to fill your pockets this weekend. Braden, I'll turn it over to you, sir. Trying to stay with a perfect record.
Yeah, I'm going to try. I'm going to jump in with the Patriots money line minus 170 versus Texans. I think those lines in that game are very, very tight. So I'm going with the Patriots, and I think that's going to be a sweat. That's all I'm going to say. And then for the Rams, I'm going minus 3.5 at Chicago. I kind of think Chicago's magical season is coming to an end here, and I think the Rams are just too good of a football team, and they're going to get it done.
Just an unbelievable comeback on Saturday night, that's for sure.
Yes, indeed. How much more of that magic do you have in you? We'll see.
It's to see what Caleb Williams really has to show up, and we'll talk about that matchup here as well. But guys, I think you know what time it might be for. What do we typically do before we go to our next segment? I can't put my finger on it. Trying to think.
I don't know. I'm stumped on this one.
Oh, it's the blind top 10, and it's worst chores to do.
Feels a little
interesting.
I like it.
Spring cleanings coming around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Brent, you don't look excited.
I don't like chores.
Well, then you should be good at this.
Just makes me scared even thinking about it.
And just so you're aware, number 1 means please don't ever make me do this. Number 10 means, I could probably do that. Watch what you say, Brent. Because
so wait. 10 is the worst?
1 is the worst. 10 is the best. 1 is the worst.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
You're ranking the worst chores to do.
Okay.
There's your clarification. Who's going first for me, gentlemen?
I think it's me this week.
Wow, that's the fastest. You know what? I trust you. At number 1, Braden, you got to go in there. You said you were going to eat the takeout and you never did. 6 months later, you find it in the back of the fridge. It's cleaning out the fridge.
Like you said, if there's some nasty expired stuff in there, that can be rough. But I feel like if you stay on top of it, it can be fine. It's tedious. Nobody wants to look at the Best By dates on all the condiment bottles and all that. But I think it's pretty middle of the pack for me. I'm probably going to put it at 5.
All right, Braden.
Yeah, I feel like that's an easy chore to maintain. Doesn't take that much effort, honestly. And even if you did have to clean it out, just get a trash bag and scoop stuff in there that's old. I think it's an easy chore.
There you go.
That's fair. All right. At number 2, we have vacuuming.
Vacuuming sucks. I'll be real. Especially when you have like a big area, for sure. Like obviously, Maddie and I just moved into a house recently. So definitely a lot bigger than my previous bedroom, for sure. Vacuuming, I don't like. I mean, obviously you can plug in a podcast or whatever and listen to something while you're doing it, but I think it's in my top 4. I'm gonna go number 3 on vacuuming.
Number 3?
Yep.
All right. At number 3, we have cleaning the toilet.
Boo, that one's bad. If you let it get nasty, that's obviously disgusting. So you don't want to be doing that. But I feel like if you maintain it pretty regularly, it's not that bad. I'm I don't know. We'll put it at 6. We'll put it at 6. We'll say we're doing this routinely.
All right.
I feel like that one's pretty easy too. Like
Yeah.
that like no matter how bad it is, well, I guess there are certain situations where it's really, really bad, but it should not take you more than 5 minutes to clean a toilet.
Just get in there. Yeah, you're good to go.
Depends who comes over to my house, clogs the toilet, S.O.S.
Hey, we're not going to get into that. We're not going to get into that.
I never named any names. I was just saying, point blank.
People might be able to infer. Okay. And I deny everything.
He's pleading the fifth on Blind Top 10. Has this ever happened before? Brent is not a #real pooper.
I know. You got
at number 4.
You gotta have some courtesy flushes in there. I've learned the hard way multiple times.
At number 4, we have lawn mowing / weeding.
Yeah, this one, I mean, again, it depends on the size for sure. Some houses don't have as big of yards. If you live in an apartment, you don't have to maintain this at all. But I truly don't think it's that bad personally. I think there's going to be better chores on the list, so I'm not going to put it all the way at 10. But I'm going to put it at like 7.
I'm with you on that, Brent, for sure. I find it satisfying, like a moderate to mid-sized yard. Play some music, like you said earlier, put it on a podcast, and it can be pretty satisfying.
All right. I'm right there with you. At number 5, some people find this more annoying, but changing the bed sheets.
Changing the bed sheets. Okay.
Those corners, Braden, they get you.
Fitted sheet. Yeah.
Actually, putting it on there isn't too much of an issue for me, but once it's like starts riding up and you don't want to actually like rip the whole thing off and put it back on, that's when it becomes an issue. We'll go with 8 here.
Wow, you guys have a lot of things you don't want to do that are still remaining.
Yeah, I don't know what we're gonna be saving for the top there.
At number 6, and this is, I'll let you give your own interpretation, but when I think of this, it's not having the handy-dandy machine, doing the dishes.
So no dishwasher involved.
I mean, you still can, but I'm talking like these are things you got to scrub down first before you put it in there.
Yeah, like pan.
Like the lasagna pan that got left out there too long.
Yeah, this is not one of my favorite things to do, I'll be honest with you. And it can pile up. It can pile up big time, especially like even just a few days. Like you'd be surprised how much accumulates in that sink. The dishwasher's throwing me a loop. But I'm going to put it at 4. I'll put it at 4.
This is one where I don't mind like at all. Like sometimes I enjoy doing dishes, but I can fully understand that is one that a lot of people don't like and can't get behind, and that's totally fair.
Braden did the dishes at our college apartment. I did not.
Braden's a real one for that.
This is true.
At number 7, just imagine, right, that you're taking out the trash. That's it. Cool. Just taking out the trash.
I thought there was more coming on.
That's it. That's the only thing.
Yeah, this is going to be 10 for me. I don't mind. You just bag it up and you're good to go.
It's pretty easy. I mean, again, it's one of those things, 2 minutes tops. Like if it's taking longer than that, you're doing something wrong.
At number 8, you have unclogging the drains.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I experienced this like 2 weeks ago. Obviously, like I said, moving into a new place, that can be rough at times. Obviously, the landlord is supposed to do that stuff for you, but sometimes you don't want to get the landlord involved. You want to try to figure it out yourself.
A little elbow grease in there.
Our dishwasher was clogged up like nobody's business. Lots of crap in the pipes. And it takes a while. It can, especially if you got a lot of buildup. I got to put it at 1. I can't imagine something worse than that. I'll be honest with you.
I agree. Like you said, it's time consuming. Depending on what's clogged, it can be gross, nasty,
disgusting,
not fun. It's not fun.
At number 9, and you got 2v9 open, so you really don't know what's coming at number 10. You have laundry. Yeah. So this is one that I personally don't like, not because I have to throw things in the laundry and take them out and replace them or whatever. It's the folding that gets me. Mm-hmm.
I've always had back issues, and that for some reason just really tears my back apart. So it's a struggle for me. It's definitely not 9. I don't know if I'd put it quite at number 2, but I don't enjoy it. So it's going to have to go at number 2.
This is my doing the dishes, Braden. I don't mind laundry at all. I've even told Maddie, like, if you want to take a lot of the other chores, I'll do all of the laundry. Like I don't mind it.
That's my exact philosophy. If you have to have a person who enjoys dishes and somebody who enjoys laundry. If you find that, you're good to go. That's my philosophy.
It's another one of those things where you could plug a podcast in. You could even, depending on how efficient you are, you could even watch a show while you're doing it. So I don't.
I'm not that efficient. I can tell you I'm not, and I've tried. At number 9, you have a little light dusting.
Yeah, it's not bad. Not bad.
When's the last time you guys ever dusted anything?
I'll be honest. This is one that I don't normally do. I'm bad at it. I'll be real. Things get dust all over. Especially, at my old house, dust would just accumulate. So I need to be better at dusting. Maybe that's a New Year's resolution. We talked about that last week. Maybe
I'll
get better at dusting.
You're 2 weeks behind. Oh, guys, I think the list went well. Round of applause. Second one of 2026. I think you've done a stellar job.
I think we're 2 for 2 so far.
I'm with you.
Hey, that's for the critics to decide.
That's fair.
All you can do is go out here and give a performance, right?
Exactly.
That's all you got to do. Let's turn it over here to Wild Card Weekend. Thank you, everybody that just came to watch the Blind Top 10. You are good to go. We'll see you next week. Over here in Wild Card Weekend, NFL recap. We'll keep these brief, just chatting about what happened over the NFC and AFC playoffs. To kickstart us off, turning it over to you, Brent. Tell me about the comeback at Soldier Field.
Yeah, this one was crazy. Bears rallying from a 21-3 halftime deficit to beat the Packers 31-27 in the wild card round. Chicago outscored Green Bay 25-6 in the fourth quarter, turning a seeming blowout into a thrilling playoff win. Caleb Williams was the hero. He threw for 361 yards, hitting DJ Moore for a 25-yard go-ahead touchdown with 1:43 left. DeAndre Swift, Olamide Zaccheaus, and rookie Colston Loveland all made key plays on that decisive fourth quarter drive, with Loveland finishing with a career-high 137 yards. You fantasy players out there might want to keep an eye on him for next year. He broke out late in the season, and he's looking really good. I think he's going to be a top 3 tight end next year easily. Green Bay, their side, they had one last chance, but Jordan Love's final throw was batted down by Jaquan Brisker, sealing the win. This marked the Bears' first playoff victory in 15 years and their 7th fourth quarter comeback this season, a testament to their resilience under first-year head coach Ben Johnson. The locker room erupted afterward, Johnson delivering a fiery, expletive-laced speech that fired up the team, but caused a lot of online controversy. A lot of fans didn't like the expletive-filled speech. I personally didn't mind it. I think rivalries are good for the NFL, and anything you can do to fire up your team, I'm all for. So that's my take on it. And that's the Bears 31, Packers 27 recap.
I thought that was a very good recap, Brent. Yeah, I saw the same testament about social media of Ben Johnson just saying how much he hates the Packers. But can we talk about the fact how people got cheese graters, metal through security?
Yeah, there was like multiple. There was like 6 or 7.
Who? How? How is it possible?
I don't know, dude.
You have metal detectors to catch metal things and metal cheese shredders. Just
It's fine.
do better. Do better. Just do better. Braden, you can be brief here.
I'm going to try. Eagles lose 23-19. The 49ers are going to advance. Vic Fangio's defense couldn't carry this team forever. The reigning Super Bowl champs have now fallen. The writing was on the wall all season. We knew this team was not good enough offensively to win sustainably. The game was a slugfest just as expected. After McCaffrey's second touchdown, the Birds got into scoring position and could not convert on 4th and 11 to end the game. Dallas Goedert scored both of the Eagles' touchdowns and is going into free agency after the season. Howie, please bring him back if we can. That'd be great. It's the first time since like Brent Selleck that we've had a question mark at tight end. Quinyon Mitchell, after having the worst sequence of plays in his career in the first drive, had an all-time game. 2 interceptions and a forced fumble. Great recovery. Kevin Patullo has been relieved of his duties as offensive coordinator. We move to the 2026 season. The 49ers get the job done against one of the best defenses in the league. They continue to defy the odds and win despite an injury-riddled season. Unfortunately, George Kittle suffered a torn Achilles in this game. Prayers for a speedy recovery for the superstar tight end there. Brock Purdy, 18 for 31, 262 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. McCaffrey had 134 yards from scrimmage and 2 touchdowns. And Demarcus Robinson steps up with one of his best games of his career with 6 catches, 111 yards, and the game's first touchdown, setting the tone for the Niners. They're going to advance to the divisional round to face their division rival, the number 1 seed Seattle Seahawks.
And that's going to be a very, very, very interesting game.
Indeed.
Sure is.
George Kittle, first of all, prayers up. Hope you recover shortly. But I hope that was a good bottle of tequila.
Yeah.
Drink a whole bottle of Patron. He is a big man, so that's fair. Braden, I'll be brief. The LA Rams versus the number 4 Carolina Panthers snuck away with a 34-31 victory on Saturday afternoon into the late evening. The Rams won off a game-winning touchdown drive, 7 plays, 71 yards from Matthew Stafford to Colby Parkinson, who was toe-tapping like his name was Santonio Holmes in the Super Bowl. What a catch, what a throw, what a drive. Joe and Braden were in person in Keep Pounding Land in Charlotte, North Carolina at Bank of America Stadium, and did the Carolina Panthers put on an absolute show. Jalen Coker had 9 catches, 134 yards, and a touchdown, and has established himself as the wide receiver 2 of the Carolina Panthers behind Rookie of the Year, Teteroa McMillan. Bryce Young, 264, 2 touchdowns, as well as one of those being rushing and throwing just that lone interception that some say wasn't his fault, absolutely played out of his mind on Saturday and is really starting to show the future. For the Rams, Puka Nacua destroyed this team. 10 catches, 111 yards, and 2 touchdowns, including one of those rushing. And Matt Stafford looked in MVP form for 304 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a lone interception as well. A couple key factors in this one was the drop to Nick Scott interception in the end zone that Puka Nacua was able to break up. So there's something you don't see on the stat sheet if you watch the box score. And this final drive where they just walked through like it was Swiss cheese in the defense, and Evero had nothing to stop this all-pro offense. People in Carolina are calling for the DC's head despite being contracted through 2027, and I agree. You cannot be playing prevent defense, sending 3 to 4 people on the final drive to try and beat the best offense in football. With that being said, this happens at high school stadiums. This happens at college football stadiums. When a team's season ends, all the home fans will always clap as their players leave. The NFL is not like that. But Bank of America was on Saturday night because of how proud they were of this 8-9 football team, the strides they've taken, the NFC South Championship, and just an absolute thriller going into 2026. I've been hurt by the Carolina Panthers very many times in my 24 years of life. On Saturday night, they did not hurt me because they played absolutely incredible. Looking forward to 2026. It sucks. Hope the Rams lose. Puka Nakua, I hate you.
Yeah, the bar is low for teams like ours, Joe, unfortunately. But, you get some sustained success in there. Maybe in a few years, the bar will be much higher. I hope it is for you. I hope the Giants get out of the hole they're in as well. So we'll see.
I just want to say I was very impressed at the bank. The energy was rocking all night.
You could literally, in the 500s, feel the stadium shaking. You almost felt like you were about to fall through the roof. It was honestly kind of scary being that high up. But Puka Nakua is a baller. Don't actually hate him. I just hate how well he plays against the football team. Speaking of defenses that played well, Brent, turn it over to you in Houston.
Yeah, the Texans, they went into Pittsburgh and delivered a statement, blowing out the Steelers 30-6 for the first road playoff win in franchise history. This one was defined by Houston's defense, as Joe mentioned, which completely smothered the Steelers and turned a tight game into a runaway in the fourth quarter. Sheldon Rankins swung the game early in the fourth with a 33-yard fumble return for a touchdown. And from there, it was all Texans. Houston held Pittsburgh to 175 total yards, didn't allow a touchdown, and forced mistake after mistake from an offense that never found its rhythm. D'Amico Ryans called it the best defensive performance in franchise history. And honestly, after watching it, it was kind of hard to argue. Offensively, C.J. Stroud was honestly terrible. He turned the ball over 3 times, but Houston made plays when it mattered. He hit Christian Kirk for a first-half touchdown. Woody Marks added a late 13-yard scoring run, and Kalen Bullock sealed it with a pick 6 in the final minute. The Texans scored 23 unanswered points to close the game in that fourth quarter. For Pittsburgh, another brutal playoff exit. The Steelers managed only 2 field goals, lost their 7th straight postseason game, and questions immediately followed. Chants calling for Mike Tomlin's firing echoed late, and Tomlin, as we mentioned, said enough is enough, immediately stepped down, and is exploring his future options. Houston now heads to New England as one of the hottest teams in the league, powered by a defense that looks capable of carrying them a long way if their offense can get it together. I'm not sure they can. They're going to have to rely on that defense to make a run.
Yeah, I think that matchup, and we're going to talk about it here in a minute, between Houston and New England is going to be the testament of probably needing some offense for that one. But we'll talk more about that when Braden gets that segment later. Speaking of New England, transition over to that. I fell asleep during this game. I won't even lie to you guys.
Yeah, the Chargers, they lose 3-16 against the Patriots, and this was another game in which we'll say both defenses played well. It was a defensive showcase in which the first touchdown was the last touchdown and didn't occur until the fourth quarter. Both quarterbacks were the leading rushers for their respective teams. Chris Collinsworth and Mike Tirico mentioned incessantly that the QB who ran the football better would win, and to their credit, they were right. The Chargers, this team got absolutely nothing going offensively. Justin Herbert was 19 for 31, 159 yards, and 57 rushing yards. I mentioned last week that Herbert was the most pressured quarterback in the league, and boy, it showed on Sunday night. He was sacked 6 times and hit 11. He was running for his life all game long. I'm surprised he could even walk after it was over. Defensively, Deion Henley was all over the field as always. 13 tackles, 1 pass breakup, and an interception. And give some flowers to the rest of his defense. They held their own and did all they could. Adafe Owe had 3 sacks. Taylor Tart, Derwin James, Tui Tuipulotu also had all very noticeable impacts in the loss. So here ends the Chargers season in a way that feels very on brand for them, with a lot of question marks heading into next season. For the Patriots, Drake May was 17 for 29 for 268 yards, a touchdown, an interception, and a lost fumble. He led the game in rushing yards with 66. They leaned heavily on Ramondre Stevenson, 10 carries for 53 yards, and led the team with 75 receiving yards. Hunter Henry scored the game's only touchdown, and Milton Williams and Caleb Chason played a big part in shutting down Justin Herbert. The Patriots advanced to take on the best defense in football, the Texans, in Foxborough this weekend.
Drake May. Let's see if he can do it again.
We'll see.
What a snooze fest, dude. This was not a snooze fest. Buffalo, Jacksonville, Duval, Central. This one, the Bills went off a game-winning touchdown drive, 9 plays, 66 yards from Josh Allen off of a rushing touchdown, his second of the day. He had 3 total touchdowns on the day as well, 273 yards passing. Khalil Shakir really stepped up in a big way for Buffalo, too, with 12 catches and 82 yards. Unfortunately, Gabe Davis, the Bills legend, tearing his ACL and will be out for the postseason. So Shakir is going to need to work a little harder and maybe get more than 12 catches. That would be crazy. Former Carolina Panther Shaq Thompson showed out for the Bills Mafia defense as well. 8 tackles, a pass deflection, and a pick. But really, it was the side of Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars that stirred this game away. Lawrence, who had been absolutely polarizing defenses, coughed up the ball twice on interceptions, timely as well, but did add 207 yards and 3 touchdowns to his name, to Brian Thomas Jr. and Parker Washington, who added 7 catches and 107 yards. Talking about Jacksonville a little more, I might be a little biased, but Baishal Tutin was getting double-digit average carries and only saw the rock 4 times. Mix it up a little bit, Jacksonville.
3 of those were in back-to-back-to-back plays, and then they took him out for 3 quarters.
And he was picking up ground too on those. He had some good run in there. Interesting.
I think him and ETN could turn into a Hubbard and Dowdle backfield long before not. So keep your eyes on fantasy football for next season. But we'll talk a little more about Buffalo and who they're about to go see. But first, Brent, some best bets from you, sir.
Yeah, I have the 49ers plus 7.5 at Seattle. I really liked the way the 49ers played against the Eagles. Obviously, the Eagles have their issues on offense, as Braden talked about earlier, but the 49ers really impressed me. They have a lot of injuries. Obviously, Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, Brandon Ayuk's been out all year. Now George Kittle. This team is just really, really well coached. And I don't think it matters what players you put in. I know they were on like their 5th and 6th string linebackers in the Eagles game. It didn't matter. I don't know if they win this game against Seattle. Seattle's a really good team, but I think they cover within a score. So I like the plus 7.5 there. My next one, and I'll get to it a little bit more in my preview, but I'm gonna do Broncos money line versus the Bills, and not to spoil anything, I'll just keep it at that for now.
Well, I can't handle the suspense, so why don't we talk about it?
Yeah. As we've already talked quite a lot about the Bills last week and this week, I'm going to take more of a Broncos-focused approach to this preview because there's a lot of good things if you're a Denver fan. As the number 1 seed in the AFC, Denver not only earned a first-round bye and home field advantage, but they also get the benefit of facing a lower-seeded team coming off the wild card weekend grind. Buffalo, the number 6 seed, emerges from a bruising win over Jacksonville and now heads to Empower Field at Mile High on a short week. Speaking of the injuries, Josh Allen, I think he had like a head injury, already had a foot injury.
Ankle injury, body injury, quad injury.
He's banged up, and he's playing through it. It's Josh Allen. He's going to play. The problem is, against a really, really talented defense like Denver, without a lot of your receivers, I think they only have Shakir, Keon Coleman, and Brandon Cooks are the only 3 healthy receivers on that roster right now. They might be in for one against a tough defense.
Braden and I found out that Tyrell Shavers is a football player this weekend.
He's that guy. He's a guy.
Yep.
He's out. He's out.
What?
He got hurt. Yeah, I think he either tore his ACL or tore his Achilles.
Well, I'm changing my Bills pick.
Like I said, there's 3 healthy receivers on this roster, so they're probably going to have to call some people up. But I think the Broncos are getting some disrespect as underdogs at home. When I was writing these notes, I think they were underdogs. I think the line might have shifted in Broncos' favor, but they're only favored by, I think, 1 now. But Denver wants some revenge. Last season, Denver's playoff run ended abruptly with a 31-7 loss to Buffalo in the wild card round, and many still remember that beatdown. They, like you said, Joe, they did get smacked. But this is a different Broncos team. Rested, healthy, under Sean Payton, looking for their first playoff win of the era. They're no longer the underdog by circumstance. They're the overdog in the AFC this time, and Mile High gives them a loud physical advantage. As I said, on the other side, the Bills, led by Josh Allen, who has proven almost impossible to stop in the postseason. His postseason numbers have been incredible despite his hiccups in the postseason. Mostly not his fault at all. But head coach Sean McDermott is determined to finally get Buffalo over the hump. And with the Chiefs and Ravens out of the way this year, the Bills see a clear path to the Super Bowl, with Josh Allen being the best quarterback in the AFC. Still, Buffalo comes into Denver on a short week after a grinding wildcard game where I know Josh Allen, as I mentioned, is hurting. Allen and the Bills may be battle-tested, but the Broncos have had time to rest, recover, and game plan. And Denver being the number 1 seed, I just think they win this one. I'm taking the Broncos over the Bills 24-20.
I think it is absolutely crazy, stupid, buck wild that this is the opening game of divisional weekend, because I think it's going to end up being the best when it comes to offensive firepower. Josh Allen versus Bosef Nix. It's gonna be fun. I'm gonna have a good time with this one.
I'm excited, man. Can't wait for it.
Josh Allen on Saturday, Matthew Stafford on Sunday, Heisman Doza on Monday. So make sure you're strapping in for a week of football. But turning over to another number 1 seed here in Seattle at Lumen Field, what some say are the hardest place to play in the NFL. People don't like ties around here, so let's go into round 3. In round 1 in week 1, this one was in Seattle. The Niners won 17-13. In round 2, January 3rd, week 18. So these teams played week 1, week 18, and now they're seeing each other 2 weeks later in the divisional round, when just 2 weeks ago, the Niners were playing for the number 1 overall seed on Saturday Night Football. In round 2, in San Fran, the Seahawks won 13-3. Round 3 will be on January 17th back in Seattle. If you figure the trend, the Niners should win, right? Some of the keys to win, it's very simple for Seattle when you think about 2 things. Rely on this special extraterrestrial defense that they have, and I forget what they call themselves. Like I know it's not Legion of Boom anymore. It's like something sick.
Legion of Zoom, I believe it is.
Whatever it is, they're really, really, really good. It's the second version of it. Rely on them. And secondly, Sam Darnold literally just needs to be a system quarterback. He needs to throw for 150 yards and 1 touchdown and 0 picks, and they will win this football game behind Zach Charbonnet, Kenneth Walker, Jackson Smith and Jigba, and this defense being able to possibly put points on the board for Brock Purdy, who can get careless with the rock from time to time. For San Francisco, Brent mentioned it earlier. They're tired. They're injured. They're weak at a lot of different positions. So they need to use every weapon on offense to confuse Seattle's defense. The ball cannot just go to Christian McCaffrey. Guys like Jawan Jennings needs to step up. Kendrick Bourne needs to step up. Demarcus Robinson needs to go off again, like he did against Philadelphia out of nowhere. And you know what? I'm not giving you betting advice because I can't, but Jake Tungus is going to be dancing in the end zone this weekend.
I think so too. I like Jake Tungus. He's good.
I do too. San Francisco also needs to have long drives and tire out the Seattle defense. The Seattle defense is used to 3-and-outs, picks, punts, and fumble sixes. If you keep them on the field, test their conditioning, and San Fran has the speed to do just that. A little bit of facts for you before we kick it over to the score prediction. Obviously, we've had from 2020 to 2024 the expansion to 7 teams in the NFL playoffs. The number 1 seed holds an 11-7 record. They've won 5 Super Bowls, and they've appeared in 8 of them. However, in the NFC, 3 losses, the only 3 losses for a 1 seed, have happened in the NFC. Gentlemen, number 4 is going to happen on Saturday night. I have Niners 20, Seahawks 16. You can only go so far with a great defense, and Sam Darnold sucks at football. I've seen it with my own eyes.
Before we move on, I did want to correct myself. The Legion of Zoom refers to the Tyreek Hill Chiefs. I don't know why that was on my mind. The Seahawks defense is referred to as the dark side.
That's sick.
That's cooler.
I would like to change my score prediction. I would like to change it. Let's kick it over to Foxborough.
Oh, boy. This game. It's in Foxborough, like you said. The Patriots versus the Texans. The Patriots are 3-point favorites, and the over-under is set at 41. And that all feels pretty spot on to me. This has been somewhat of a surprising season for both of these teams. I think people expected the Patriots to be a bit better this year, but I'm sure no one gave them a shot at the number 2 seed. And for the Texans, they were probably the favorite to win the AFC South to start the year, but after losing their first 3 games, it felt like many people were counting them out, including me. The Texans have 5 losses, but they were pretty good in hindsight. They were good losses. They lost to the number 5 Rams, the Buccaneers, who were hot and dominant at the time, the number 3 seeded Jaguars, the number 1 seeded Seahawks, and the number 1 seeded Broncos. So almost all playoff teams and both number 1 seeds, all by 1 score. Now they're on a 10-game winning streak. Keys to win for them, protect the football. C.J. Stroud threw an interception and fumbled the ball 5 times against the Steelers. He and the offensive line have not always been on the same page this season. You got to protect the football. You can't be turning it over in a game like this. And rely on your defense. The Patriots offense has struggled against the stout Chargers defense last week, and the Texans are even better defensively. They have the best yards per game average of any team this year, second best in points allowed behind the Seahawks, and third in turnovers created. This defense has been stellar all year. You just had your best defensive performance maybe of all time last week. Keep it up, and you win this football game. For the Patriots, their keys to win are to kickstart the offense. The offense really started to find their stride late in the regular season. In their last 5 games, they have 34.4 points per game. And those games were against some pretty weak opponents, though, to be fair. We saw last week that they struggled to get anything going. They need to find a way to put points on the board despite this stellar Texans defense. Finish strong is another key. The bright side for the Patriots is that in each of the Texans' 5 losses, the game was decided by 1 score, with the highest point total being 46. Mike Vrabel showed that his squad can win exactly those types of games last week, and I think it's going to be similar this week. I have the Patriots winning another slugfest 20-17 against the Texans.
I think this game could be flipped on its head in any which way. I genuinely go back to the strength of schedule of the New England Patriots, and they saw probably the worst LA Chargers team that they've played all year. At what point is it going to matter that they haven't played good ball clubs out there? The Texans is the best defense of the AFC.
Absolutely. Arguably the best in the league, just compared with the Seahawks.
Should be a fun one on Sunday afternoon.
It's going to be crazy.
Should be a fun one. Another one that should be a fun one over here with the LA Rams and Chicago Bears to close out your divisional weekend. The Rams are 3.5-point favorites going on the road to Chicago, a team that had a miracle 25-point comeback to win on Saturday night. Over-under set at 48.5, and keys to win are simple. For the Rams, it's deep ball and drive runs. It's very simple. You have 2 of the best playmakers in the game in Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. Throw it over top or vice versa. Run the ball down their throats with Kyron Williams and Blake Corum, and then you will find one of those two over the top for a tutty. Number 2 is make Caleb Williams uncomfortable. The O-line is known to collapse late in seasons for the Bears, as they know to be choke artists, but do know how to come back in the fourth quarter. Make sure there's not a string of life of Bears hopeful nation at Soldier Field on Sunday night. For Chicago, they need to expose the Rams secondary. The Panthers did just that on Saturday. The Bears need to do the exact same thing. The front 7 for the Rams is fantastic. Their offense is the best in the league. If they can torch this secondary, find Rome Odunze, DJ Moore in the backfield, Colston Loveland, they're terrible against tight ends as well. They'll be able to put this one away. Secondly, don't be stupid. Caleb Williams can't throw 2 picks. DeAndre Swift can't fumble. Cairo Santos can't miss a field goal. You just have to play good old-fashioned Chicago winter weather ball. That's another thing that they're not prepped for is Chicago weather in playoff season. I don't see it happening. I look at the Bears and I see the team as a whole. I don't think they're fully developed the way Ben Johnson wants them to be. I think it's a miracle they beat Green Bay in the way that they did. I have Rams 31, Bears 20, and the Rams are just a dangerous team in the NFL. Any comments on that one, fellas?
No. I mean, the Rams are awesome. Great team, and I agree with your analysis wholeheartedly, Joe.
100%.
You're going to put money on them?
I don't know. Well, it was one of Braden's best bets. So in that case, I'm putting my entire retirement on it.
Let's go.
I like it. So it all comes down to this, fellas. You know, you think all the way back to our first episode of the Super Summer Series, the College Summer Super Series 4.0, when we were breaking down team after team in college football. On one end, you have the Miami Hurricanes. Probably, according to a lot of fans, they're Notre Dame fans, weren't supposed to be there here, not just in the college football playoff, but in the national championship. On the other end of the corner, you have Kurt Cignetti and the Indiana Hoosiers, who at every turn have been doubted, doused, and just demolished by people's feedback, words, and criticism of they can't win the big game. They aren't going to be able to do anything when they get to the college football playoff. Guys, they might start calling it the Indiana Football Playoff National Championship with how dominant this team has been. Now, I saw a fun factoid as well about the 2025 Indiana Hoosiers. If they were to open a bet for a spread against the 2020 Joe Burrow LSU Tigers team, they were 13.5-point pups.
Wow.
Who would cover that spread? LSU by a million.
Yeah, that LSU game was special. There's no shot.
Brent?
I don't know, man. No comment. I plead the fifth, like earlier.
Sports Athlete Show family, welcome to the College Football National Championship. It'll occur on Monday night at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida at 7:30 p.m. kickoff. Recent lines show the Indiana Hoosiers as 8.5-point favorites in Miami's home stadium with an over-under 47.5. The money line trending minus 340 for the Hoosiers and plus 270 for the Hurricanes. Brent, tell me about this Miami Hurricanes team, why they're so special, and what they need to do to be hoisted in College Football Hall of Fame for the first time since 2001.
Yeah. Miami reaching the national championship is a return to their identity. Like Joe mentioned, hasn't happened since 2001. Physical football, an aggressive defense, and a pass rush that can flip games. Reuben Bain Jr. and Akeem Mesidor drive everything Miami wants to do. When they're creating pressure and chaos, the Hurricanes are hard to beat. The issue is Indiana is built to take that away. The Hoosiers are efficient, disciplined, and get the ball out quickly. If they neutralize Miami's pass rush, they remove the Hurricanes' biggest edge, and that's where this matchup starts to tilt. And if you think Curt Cignetti doesn't know that as well, I promise you're wrong. Offensively, Miami's margin for error is thin. If the Hurricanes are going to win this game, they're going to need big performances from Malachi Toney and Mark Fletcher Jr. Toney has to be the explosive element, winning on the outside and creating chunk plays, because Miami cannot afford long, mistake-free drives against this defense. Fletcher is just as critical. His physical running keeps Miami balanced, shortens the game, and prevents Indiana from fully dictating tempo. Simply put, Miami cannot nickel and dime Indiana. They need explosives on the perimeter and consistency on the ground to stay on schedule. Miami can absolutely win if they speed the game up and force chaos. But if Indiana keeps the game clean and controlled, this is a very, very difficult matchup for the Hurricanes. That's what I got.
Braden, turn it over to you for Curt Cignetti's led Hoosiers.
Guys, isn't this sport crazy? Imagine saying that just 2 years ago, the Indiana Hoosiers would be the most dominant team in the country and be competing in a national championship game. The team hadn't won a bowl game since 1991. Then Curt Cignetti came in and immediately turned this program around. His Hoosiers are 26-2 during his tenure. Now they're one game away from history. How do you get there? This team is so well coached. If you stick with the game plan and do what you've been doing so well all year, you have a great shot. Your Heisman winning quarterback Fernando Mendoza has been an absolute perfectionist in this playoff run. Against Alabama and Oregon, he has, and I know you've seen this stat everywhere, 8 passing touchdowns compared to 5 incompletions. That is utterly ridiculous. The scheme and play calling has been stellar, and Mendoza has been taking advantage of it. He's absolutely killing it. The defense has also put them in a great position. Over the playoffs, they're winning the turnover battle 4-0, and they have scored 28 points off of those turnovers. Every turnover they've had, they've turned it into a touchdown. It's also unreal. I think another huge thing to worry about is the Miami defensive line. If you can shut down Ruben Bain and the rest of that defense, you're in great shape. Both games you've played so far have been purely dominant. The key is simple. Do what you've been doing all year. Don't let the moment get to your head. You haven't lost once all year. Don't start now for the Hoosiers.
I think about Miami. I think about the Hoosiers. And Braden, you talked about Ruben Bain Jr., who could be a top 5 pick, maybe to the Jets now at number 2 with Dante Moore out of the picture. Curt Cignetti's a big film guy, right? And Ole Miss absolutely deleted Ruben Bain Jr. out of the picture when they played against when the Rebels played against the Hurricanes. So know for a matter of fact that the Hoosiers will be doing the same thing. When it comes down to this, Indiana's defense, right, versus Miami's offense is going to be the key picture, because I don't see much of a world where Mendoza doesn't score 3 touchdowns just straight up on this Hurricanes defense. Their defense good, they're elite, but this Indiana offense is better, just twofold, much better. It's going to come down to if Carson Beck turns the ball over even once. Braden, you just talked about that stat. They're 4 for 4 like a Wendy's Wednesday meal, right? On the turnover to touchdown ratio. Not just points, turnover to touchdown ratio. Do not give this team anything else that they can't have. Turnovers will be massive in this game between Fletcher, Beck, Toney, Marion, everybody on this roster. The problem is Carson Beck is too careless with the ball to where I believe he'll at least throw a pick or fumble once, and that's going to be the story of the game. Sports Highlight Show family, my prediction for the College Football National Championship is Indiana 38, Miami 20. The Hoosiers comfortably cover this spread, but I think we'll have a fun one on Monday night, and really, I'd love to see it be closer than this.
Yeah, Honestly, like after everything you guys have said, it's honestly kind of swayed me a little bit even more in Indiana's favor. The line's 8.5 for a reason. I don't see any way Miami wins this game. I'll be real with you guys, especially the way they started the season. Like it almost seems like they're a completely different team now. Obviously, beating Ohio State the way they did, but in the back of my brain, it feels like Miami still has what I saw earlier in the year in there somewhere. And I'm just waiting for like a Carson Beck mistake or something bad to happen because it always seems to happen with Miami. My prediction is Indiana 26, Miami 22, but I could see Indiana beating them by way more than this as well. So I'm not comfortable taking that line. I'll just say that.
Braden.
Yeah, guys, it's gonna be a clean sweep here. This Indiana team has just been purely dominant all year. It's been awesome, and it's going to continue to be awesome. But I think we might have a close one. I got Indiana winning 27 to Miami's 20, and Indiana's storybook past 2 seasons comes to an end and ends with them lifting the trophy.
Our Final Four was Penn State, Texas, Oregon, and Clemson when we first did this. I'd have to double check, but I'm pretty sure that's pretty close.
I think that's accurate. I don't know if Oregon was in there, but we definitely had Penn State, Texas, and Clemson.
It might have been Ohio State instead of them, but whoever it was, it doesn't matter. That's how you can't even call this a Cinderella run from Indiana based on how they played last year, but it is a Kurt Signetti run, if you want to call it anything. The Hoosiers are in great hands in football, and they have a chance to go win their first ever national football title on Monday. College football is one great head coach away from turning a program.
Good to know.
What another great weekend of college football and NFL coming up this weekend. Saturday, you have 2 divisional games. Sunday, you have 2 divisional games. And Monday, the College Football National Championship on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So absolutely going to be epic for the football world. Very, very excited to break it down with you here next Wednesday, January 21st at 7 p.m. again on YouTube Live. We love doing this with you all every week and love the link that we had this evening. Very informative, and hope you guys go out there, put some of the Brent and Braden's best bets in and make some money. Boys, anything to say to the Sports Outlet Show family before we tune out this evening?
The one thing I'll leave you guys with is I hope John Harbaugh is a Giant the next time we're podcasting here, but things seem to never work in the Giants' favor, so I'm not going to hope for it until it happens.
Braden.
Yeah, it's crazy that the football season is already coming to an end. It always feels like it flies by, but we got a couple more weeks left. We got to savor it while we can. So look forward to that.
Hey, we're gonna have to turn into a non-football podcast at some point, but we're hanging on till we don't have to do that.
Exactly.
Brent is going to tell you every fact he knows about Bronny James here in a couple weeks. Don't worry.
Oh my gosh! Please don't make me do that.
We'll find some things that everybody's interested in. Thanks so much for hanging out with us here on the Sports Outlet Show. We'll see you next Wednesday on the 21st at 7 p.m., where there will be a national champion in college football. Thanks so much. Have a great night. Stay safe out there and enjoy a merry weekend of football. Good night.